The movie begins in 1996, in an area of England called Yorkshire. It introduces two children, Claire and Denny, who have been best friends since they were little. Claire is a few years older than Denny, about 2 or 3 years. One day they go to a mall together. Claire tells Denny that she will get him some free toffees, but he needs to distract the shopkeeper. At first, Denny feels unsure, but the thought of getting free toffees makes him agree. Claire sneaks into the shop and starts stealing the toffees while Denny keeps the shopkeeper busy. After taking the toffees, Claire leaves the shop. As she walks out, she notices a man standing near the gate, which makes her feel nervous. She quickly moves to the side of the shop and waits there for Denny, eating her toffees. However, Denny doesn't come. Claire senses someone nearby and tries to talk to them, but no one responds. Feeling uneasy, she goes back into the shop to look for Denny. When she asks the shopkeeper where Denny is, the shopkeeper says that the boy was looking for his dad, and someone came and took him away. This confuses Claire because she had told Denny to pretend he was lost if anyone asked. Claire searches for Denny but can't find him anywhere. The scene shifts here, and we learn something chilling. Many children have gone missing in this area, and they were never found. Though some people were arrested, the cases were never properly solved. The area where these events happened became known as a haunted, mysterious place. Many questions about what happened there remain unanswered. 25 years pass. Claire grows up and becomes a journalist, or more precisely a podcast host. She runs a show on a radio channel sharing news and gossip. The show isn't very popular but does okay. One day, Denny's father, Bill, comes to see Claire. Bill has spent the past 25 years searching for his son, struggling with grief and the pain of not knowing what happened. Bill asks Claire to talk about Denny's story on her show and help him. Claire agrees, understanding Bill's desperation to find out the truth, even if Denny is no longer alive. Bill simply wants closure. Together, they go to the area where Denny disappeared, hoping to find answers. They are joined by a local ranger named Liz, who knows the area well. The place is a desolate, overgrown land with tall grass, pits, and swamps. This area, called the Mouth, is where they begin their search. Bill and Liz explore the area, but Claire hesitates to join them. She's still haunted by the fear from her childhood, the fear of getting lost in the Mouth, just like Denny. She stays back, too afraid to step into the place that has haunted her memories for so long. After searching for one day, Claire and the others return home. Home, Claire talks with someone and looks at a map. Through this, we learn that during the time when the children went missing, the people in the area were so scared they refused to leave their houses. Parents wouldn't let their children go outside to play, attend school, or go shopping. Even if a child disappeared for a brief moment, parents would panic. That level of fear still exists today, though people have learned to live with it. Later, Claire meets a detective and talks to him about the case. The detective explains that a team of 10 people had searched the area known as the Mouth thoroughly, but they never found a single clue. The investigation didn't progress, and eventually everyone gave up. Claire then shows the detective a map of the Mouth, pointing to the area where Bill is searching for Denny. She asks if the entire Mouth had been explored. The detective, surprised by her question, asks why they are searching there now. His reaction surprises Claire, so she asks why he seems so shocked. The detective explains that the Mouth is actually much larger than she thought. It stretches across many kilometers. This revelation shocks Claire. When Claire returns home, she finds Bill with a psychic. The psychic tells Bill about a specific location where Denny might be, so Bill decides to search there. Although Claire is curious, she doesn't question the psychic. The next day, Claire joins Bill and the ranger to search the Mouth again. This is the first time Claire steps into the area. She attaches a camera to her chest as they begin their search. As they walk deeper into the Mouth, their fear grows. After a long search, they come across a pit. Inside the pit, they find one of Denny's shoes. Bill carefully places the shoe in a box, and they prepare to head back. However, Claire starts to feel lost and panics. She remembers seeing some sheep earlier and thinks they could help her find the way back. But when she looks for the sheep, they are gone. On their way back, Claire suddenly sees 3 sheep. This frightens her even more, and she starts running in panic. Eventually, she manages to find the road and calms herself down. In the next scene, Bill takes Denny's shoe to the police station, hoping it will be enough evidence to reopen the case. However, the police officer tells him that the shoe isn't sufficient to reopen the case. This leaves Bill disappointed and upset. Meanwhile, interviews with locals reveal the deep fear people felt when the disappearances were happening. They wondered who the culprit could be, what he looked like, and what he might have done to the children. They imagined the horrifying things he might have done and the terrible things he might have witnessed. The police never revealed the culprit's face to the press or the public. It is revealed that the culprit was sentenced to life in prison, which in this case means 25 years. People fear that when he is released, he could become a danger again. The detective begins to suspect that mistakes were made during the investigation. He wonders if those mistakes were why the culprit received only a life sentence and why the case was never reopened, perhaps to keep those errors hidden. Claire, Bill, and the ranger are out searching again in the mouth, but suddenly Bill and the ranger disappear. Claire hears a noise behind her. She turns around and sees Denny standing on the road. She's confused because the road and the mouth were not supposed to be next to each other. She starts walking toward Denny, but then Culpa appears near him. Panicking, Claire runs away. As she does, someone attacks her. But then Claire wakes up. It was just a nightmare. Shaken, she tries to calm herself down. Later, Bill and Claire meet Alex, the psychic. Alex explains that he has done everything he could. He says he was able to connect slightly with Denny's belongings, but Bill still isn't satisfied. Alex decides to call his daughter, Eleanor, who is also a psychic, but more powerful than him. Unlike Alex, Eleanor doesn't just connect through objects. She can access people's memories and even touch their souls to some extent. Alex doesn't want her involved, but Eleanor insists on helping. Eleanor begins a session. At first, she doesn't sense anything. But when she touches Denny's shoe, she feels a presence and marks a specific location. The next day, Claire, Bill, Eleanor, and the ranger head to the location. Along the way, Claire tells Eleanor about the mouth, describing how it feels like the mouth itself doesn't want her to be there, as if it's trying to push her away. While searching, Claire sees a girl with a sad face. She tries talking to the girl, asking her to come closer and talk about her parents. The girl says she doesn't remember her parents, only darkness. This mention of darkness unsettles Claire. Claire starts to feel someone's presence behind her. Before she can react, Eleanor suddenly starts running ahead and falls into a pit. Eleanor appears to be in some kind of trance. Alex tries to bring her back to reality but struggles. Meanwhile, Bill begins digging at the location where Eleanor fell. As Bill digs, something strange happens. The wall of the pit collapses, and they discover the body of a young girl. Her eyes are wide open, frozen in terror. Her body shows signs of being scratched and bitten before she died. Everyone is horrified, imagining the pain and fear the girl must have felt. The story moves forward by 4 weeks. Claire continues to have nightmares about what they saw. She talks to Eleanor and learns more about the girl they found. Eleanor explains that the girl was not from the mouth area. She had been brought there from another place and killed. The children killed here had met the same fate about 3 to 4 years ago. Bill grows more tired but refuses to give up. While the police continue their investigation, Denny is still missing. Bill clings to the hope that Denny is still somewhere in the mouth, and he is determined to find him someday. One day, Claire, Alex, and Eleanor were at Bill's house. During their conversation, Eleanor revealed that she had a guardian spirit named Thomas. Thomas often told her about the other side, a place full of evil. But as they discussed this, Eleanor suddenly changed the topic. While they were talking, water spilled over the table, soaking the map they had been using. Mysteriously, the map pointer moved on its own and marked a location. Eleanor said this was where they would either find Denny trapped or confront the evil that had taken him and the other children. Without wasting time, Bill decided they had to go there. Alex objected, saying it might be dangerous, but Claire insisted, saying Denny needed them. They all agreed and prepared to leave. On the way to the marked location, they noticed ancient rock carvings that were about 5,000 years old. The carvings showed 5 circles with a common pattern. They discussed this briefly and then continued their journey. The weather soon turned bad. Heavy rain forced them to set up a tent to rest for the night. Inside the tent, Eleanor mentioned that Thomas was trying to communicate with her, but before she could explain further, Bill and Alex started arguing about something. Frustrated, Bill stepped out of the tent, followed by Ranger Liz. Outside, Bill stopped to relieve himself and noticed a shadow in the distance. He decided to follow it, but the shadow vanished. As he moved closer, Bill found himself stuck in a swamp. Ranger Liz quickly came to his rescue and warned him that the land ahead was dangerous. She explained that stepping into the swamp was like stepping into the underworld. Meanwhile, back in the tent, Alex, Eleanor, and Claire were sitting quietly. Alex went outside for a moment, leaving Claire and Eleanor alone. Claire told Eleanor that she felt guilty about Denny's disappearance, as she believed it was her fault. She shared how she had left the city with her parents afterward, trying to escape the guilt. Eleanor comforted her, saying that Bill didn't blame her, so she shouldn't blame herself. Eleanor then said something strange. "There's something here that wants me." Before she could explain further, Alex returned to the tent, acting oddly. He stared at Eleanor in a strange way. Suddenly, Eleanor started shouting, saying, "Thomas is scared." She screamed that the door to the other side had opened and that evil was tormenting her. Eleanor's screams grew louder, and Ranger Liz and Bill rushed back to the tent. Ranger Liz tried calling for help on his radio, but strange voices interrupted the signal. These voices came from the area itself. It was the evil that lived there. Among the voices, Bill heard Denny calling out. As the evil presence grew stronger, it took possession of Eleanor. Her body began to break apart as the evil spirit emerged. Her pupils widened, her eyes filled with blood, and red tears began streaming down her face. Her arms and legs twisted unnaturally, and her breathing became heavy. Despite trying to help others, Eleanor couldn't fight the evil and died painfully. Bill and Ranger Liz ran outside, only to encounter a herd of blind sheep, which left them deeply unsettled. Then they saw the real Alex, who had been missing. It turned out that the Alex they had been with earlier was not Alex at all. It was the evil itself disguised as him. Alex held the lifeless body of his daughter, crying as he realized that everything he loved was now gone. The next morning, Ranger Liz called for help and noticed something strange. The sheep that had attacked them the night before had turned to stone. She dropped Bill and Claire off at home and told Bill she could no longer help him. Later, Claire went to her room and received a call from the detective. He warned her not to go back to that place, explaining that something terrible had happened there and the killer had escaped from Sudley jail. This news terrified Claire, and she began to fear Bill as well. She knew he wanted to return to that place, but when she tried to stop him, he wouldn't listen. The next day, Claire left Bill and went back to her house. She shared her story on her podcast, revealing her experiences. While recording, we see footage from her body cam, and the real truth of the story starts to come out. It turned out that Bill had forced Claire to go back to the cursed place one last time, this time at gunpoint. He explained that for the last 5,000 years, people had been sacrificed at this location by suffocation to appease the resident evil. Bill told Claire that he had heard Danny's voice on that night, and it made him realize that Danny's death had been unnecessary. The real sacrifice was supposed to be Claire. Terrified, Claire tried to reason with Bill. As she looked around, she saw a sheep banging its head against a stone carving. Bill, consumed by his belief, refused to listen. When Claire tried to escape, he shot her in the shoulder. In the chaos, Claire saw something running away in the shadows. Despite her injury, she managed to control herself, but then she fell into a swamp. Before anything else happened, the full truth became clear. Bill had brought Claire there to sacrifice her. He had discovered that the real sacrifice required to appease the evil and potentially bring Denny back was Claire, not Denny. The swamp, filled with the spirits of past sacrifices, surrounded Claire. In her final moments, she saw a vision of Denny's ghost reuniting with Bill. And just like that, boom, the story ended.
In Yorkshire's quiet lanes where shadows grow, two best friends, Claire and Denny, on they go. To the mall for toffees, a sneaky little game, but that day would change their lives, never be the same. Claire's heart raced fast, a man stood by. Something felt wrong, she didn't know why. Denny's laughter vanished, he was gone. The search for his face stretched on and on. Lost in the shadows, where did you go? A childhood stolen, a story untold. Echoes of laughter, now whispers of fear. Denny was searching, we're still here. 25 years, Claire's grown but not free, hosting her podcast, telling mysteries. Then Bill comes knocking, tears in his eyes. We've gotta find Denny, or at least know why. They trace the old trails to the haunted grounds, stories of children lost, never found. Evil lurking where no light survives. Can love and courage keep them alive? Lost in the shadows, where did you go? A childhood stolen, a story untold. Echoes of laughter, now whispers of fear. Denny was searching, we're still here. Yo, Claire and Bill on a mission to find clues buried deep in the depths of time. 5,000 years, sacrifices made. Swamp was the secrets where shadows play. Rock carving speed, but the truth ain't clear. Ranger says stop, but Bill's got no fear. Evil's got plans, it's a game of fate. Sacrifices to the dark won't let you escape. Eleanor's gone, her soul couldn't stay. The past keeps haunting, won't fade away. Claire's in the swamp, face to face with dread, but she won't back down, not until it's said. Denny's story, where it ends or begins. In the fight with darkness, only love wins. Lost in the shadows, where did you go? A childhood stolen, a story untold. Echoes of laughter, now whispers of fear. Denny was searching, we're still here. The sheep turned to stone, the ghosts fade away, but the scars of the past forever stay. Claire sees Denny, but he's not the same. A reunion of souls in the dark's cruel game. Lost in the shadows, but we won't let go. Through the pain and the grief, the love will show. Denny was searching through darkness.